there's a rule of playing no Monopoly. Yeah, Kate, she has been forbidden from participating in playing Monopoly. And for this rule, like, it's actually not officially documented since it was not established when the game was created, but it exists within the royal family as an informal regulation.
Before her death, Queen Elizabeth had banned the royal family from playing Monopoly. Let me explain. Each year, families and friends around the world often gather to sit down to play board games, but sadly, it is not one of the games that the royal family can play during their game nights.
Prince Andrew was actually the one that publicly revealed that they avoid playing competitive games like Monopoly due to concerns about excessive competitiveness leading to family conflicts. And it seems like there were past incidences that prompted the creation of this rule within the family. And yeah, it applies to games not just Monopoly, but similar games like it. There's also the rule when it comes to waving. So Kate Middleton is actually expected to be a highly skilled person in executing the royal wave. And we all know the royal wave. The Queen did it all the time, Queen Elizabeth II. This holds great significance and importance in the lives of royals and is treated with great seriousness. A comprehensive set of protocols governs the Windsor wave, as it's known as, which Kate must always follow.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Now, the purpose of the wave is to enhance the royal family women's elegance and to minimize the risk of wrist strain caused by excessive waving. The next rule Kate Middleton must follow has to do with hats. There is a requirement of wearing a hat when venturing out in public for formal engagements. In earlier times, it was deemed inappropriate for women to appear in public without a hat, and this custom was preserved within the royal family. So consequently, women within the royal family, including Kate Middleton, are strongly encouraged to wear hats whenever they are in public, even if it's not a formal engagement. The next rule is a hard one for the ladies out there, but there's a restriction on nail polish. This restriction on Kate Middleton has to do with brightly colored nail polish though.
She may not be the Queen of England yet, but Kate Middleton definitely rules the style game. Not only does she have a clever trick for repeating her outfits, but she can even make wearing heels less painful.
The use of vivid nail polish shades is strictly prohibited, and she's only permitted to wear subtle and conventional colors, meaning vibrant reds, purples, greens, blues, and similar shades are completely off limits. I know, ladies, yeah, that would be hard. So her options are very limited to beige and light pink if she does desire to deviate slightly. And this rule also extends to hair colors, so it's unlikely that we'll see the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, with brightly colored hair in the foreseeable future. Now, since 2019, members of the royal family are strictly prohibited from donning any attire made from authentic fur. While this may appear to be in line with contemporary fashion trends, the rule has historical roots all the way back to 1137. King Edward III established a law that prohibited anyone, including his own family, from wearing fur. And it's important to note that despite the occasional sighting of Kate Middleton wearing a fur hat in public, it's actually faux fur, so it's not real at all. So it's entirely permissible to do so, and it doesn't violate any of the regulations. Kate Middleton must also stay very neutral. Members of the royal family are required to adhere to a neutral position. Expressing political opinions or taking a stance on political matters, particularly in public or through media engagements, is strongly discouraged. Their political views are meant to remain private and undisclosed to the world, and this restriction, of course, is a logical one considering that their role is non-political, and sharing their personal opinions on political matters would be irrelevant to the general public anyways. Or maybe not, maybe it could sway the public in one direction or another, which would be kind of unfair. Another rule Kate Middleton must follow is that she must always have at all times a black outfit ready. When the Princess of Wales travels abroad, she must ensure that she carries an all-black outfit with her. And this precaution is in place in the event that a royal family member passes away while she's away, requiring her to be prepared for mourning by having the appropriate attire readily available. And this one comes as a no-brainer. There's no public undressing. Now, at first glance, it may seem pretty obvious, like, you know, any member of the royal family, including Kate Middleton, shouldn't be undressing in public. However, the definition of undressing in this context, it actually goes further than the ordinary sense of the term. Even the act of taking off a coat is considered undressing. And Kate Middleton, she has to ensure that she's not seen doing so in public. So if she wishes to remove her coat, it must be done in private. This means that, for instance, if she transitions from outdoors to indoors and the temperature is hotter inside, she has to wait till she's in a private area before taking off her coat.
On April 29, 2011, 29-year-old Kate Middleton married the heir to the British throne, but she had other boyfriends before Prince William.
Kate Middleton actually led a pretty low-key but crazy life before becoming a royal figure. So gather around, folks! Today we are diving into the pre-royal secrets of the one and only Kate Middleton. Forget the tiaras and all the formalities for a second, okay? We're talking about the days when Kate was literally just trying to survive high school bullies and the occasional hangover.
As a young woman in her 20s, Kate embraced the carefree and natural look with her signature heavy eyeliner.
And by occasional, I mean every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday probably as well. Anyways, let's dive right into the tea now, shall we? Kate Middleton had a college boyfriend right before meeting Prince William.
Catherine dating Rupert Finch in her first year.
During the fashion show that marked Kate Middleton's catwalk debut, Kate reportedly had a tall, dark, and handsome boyfriend.
The tall, dark law student was a genuinely nice guy, but since he was a few years older than the girl...
Does William fit any of those criteria? Oh, I guess he's tall. The mysterious ex-boyfriend was an aspiring lawyer who attended the same college, St. Andrews, as Kate. His name was Rupert Finch. And although Kate and Rupert's romantic journeys took different paths later on, the connection remained strong.
Their romance ended a year later with his graduation from the university. However, the ex-lovers remain friends and are still on friendly terms.
Strong enough that Rupert received an invitation to attend Kate and Prince William's wedding back in 2011. So put yourself in Rupert's shoes. Imagine being the guy who lost his girlfriend to the future heir of the throne, and as compensation, getting invited to the wedding.
Even after the breakup, the ex-boyfriend even attended the royal wedding as a guest.
I mean, honestly, at that point, you can't even really be mad. Hopefully Rupert is doing okay now. I mean, lawyer in London, I'm sure he's doing fine. Anyone got a Rupert update for us? Let us know in the comments below. Kate Middleton used to moon people on campus as a prank. Well, according to former classmates at Kate's school, Marlborough, Kate had a serious pranking addiction, and mooning people was her favorite prank of the bunch. And if you're unfamiliar with the term mooning, well, it involves flashing innocent bystanders with your buttocks. Yes, your buttocks. I prefer prank calls to local pizza chains. But by all means, prank as you must, Kate. Because apparently the bystanders who got mooned by Kate through her dorm window would yell and scream with laughter to continuously egg her on. And to be fair, I can think of worse ways to be pranked than being mooned by Kate Middleton. Yeah. Moving on! Unrelatedly, Kate was bullied in boarding school. Yeah, you heard that right. During her time at all-girls boarding school, Kate Middleton found herself being picked on by her peers. The reason? Well, it turns out that some classmates couldn't resist poking fun at her for being thin and pale. Yeah, terrible. Well, look at who's winning now, Kate. The classic case of the bullied outclassing the bully. You go, girl. Kate also has a working class background, to which many people don't know. Kate's parents, Carol and Michael Middleton, weren't exactly born with silver spoons in their hands. But hey, their family trees did touch base with the Queen Mother. Now, despite their fancy-ish roots, being a flight attendant and flight dispatcher raised some aristocratic eyebrows. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, had to ponder a little bit on whether or not Kate Middleton was posh enough for William. Well, as fate would have it, love conquered all posh concerns, and now they are the royal power couple. Did you know that Kate was shy and awkward as a young girl? Well, it might come as a surprise to many people, but back in her high school days at Marlborough, Kate Middleton had a humble start on the popularity scale. Apparently, one of her first school buddies spilled the tea, claiming that Kate was shy, and gawky. Another person who went to the same school chimed in, and they described this schoolgirl Kate as someone with very little confidence. Once again, I'd say it's pretty ironic. Even one of her tutors spilled some academic beans, revealing that Kate was so jittery in the beginning that chatter was a royal rarity. But lo and behold, because within a year, apparently Kate became the social butterfly we now all know her to be. I myself never got the memo that you're allowed to change throughout high school. Did you know Kate co-founded a drinking society? Well, hold on now. Kate Middleton wasn't just a royal in the making. She was also a trendsetter of student social scenes. At St. Andrews University, Kate took matters into her own hands by co-founding a all-female drinking society. The Guardian notes that she was annoyed with the old drinking societies, as they excluded women. And the interesting twist here is that while she was so busy revolutionizing the party game, none of her friends seemed to recall her going overboard on the drinks herself. So, classy Kate. Well done. Did you know that Kate Middleton was a passionate saleswoman? Before her days as the Duchess, Kate had a taste for business, and in her pre-royal life, she lent a hand to her mom Carol's business, and by all accounts, she was a force to be reckoned with. One former colleague spilled the beans, saying Kate had all the makings of a fantastic trader. Everybody thinks of her as a mother and a future queen, but she's got a shrewd eye for profit. So, if your business needs some help in the sales department, call up Kate for some tips. Kate Middleton took an insanely cool gap year. After wrapping up high school, Kate flew off to Chile, where she rolled up her sleeves and went to work with Rally International, a sustainable development charity. She then set sail, literally, by crewing boats in Florence. And, you know, if you ever want to take a gap year, just know that Kate Middleton did so as well, and now she's in the royal family. So go on ahead. Kate also briefly lived in Jordan as a child. Chile and Italy were not Kate's only international living experience. In a surprising twist to her childhood, Kate Middleton spent almost 3 years of her life in Jordan's capital, Amman. The Middleton family relocated there in 1984 when her father took a position with British Airways. During that time, Kate attended an English nursery school. Kate was also part of a social group known as the Glossy Posse. Before St. Andrews, hear me out, Kate was already a part of an exclusive, wealthy social group known as the Glossy Posse. Apparently, her involvement in the group made it easier for her to cross paths with Prince Andrew, as he was known for partying with the Glossy Posse. The best-selling book Royals at War calls the Glossy Posse a group of privileged teens letting off steam by haunting bars and clubs. I wish I had a party night with the Glossy Posse. I mean, I'm not sure I could ever keep up with them, but it would be fun in theory. Kate had an adorable nickname in school. In her primary school days, Kate Middleton's nickname was Squeak. The inspiration behind this adorable nickname came from none other than the school's 2 pet guinea pigs. As Kate shared with fellow students at St. Andrews, there was one guinea pig called Pip and the other called Squeak. So my sister was called Pip and I was called Squeak. And who would have thought that guinea pigs would play such a big role in the life of a future duchess? Me? I'm more of a hamster guy. Kate has always been a natural athlete. Kate Middleton doesn't just engage in royal events like rowing, running, and sailing just to be a good sport. Her athletic spirit goes all the way back. In high school, she actually took the lead as the captain of the swim team. And hey, that's not all. Kate also played netball and field hockey, making her presence known. Kate was a theater kid.
Lots of chocolate for me to eat.
Believe it or not, Kate Middleton wasn't just a sports enthusiast, she also had a flair for the dramatic arts. Embracing her inner theater kid, Kate landed the role of Eliza Doolittle in a school production of My Fair Lady. Now that I think about it, Kate does remind me a little bit of a modern Audrey Hepburn. Who's to say that they aren't the same person? The craziness that goes into pre-royal life. I wonder if Kate still moons people to this day. The king has arrived, and with a pocket full of dough. Did you know that King Charles once had to work as a waiter to support his personal pursuits as an actor? Oh, that was Charlie Sheen. Oh, so they're not the same person.
No, that became secondary and what became the thrust of what I was saying.
Charles is rich, and I'm talking rich. Like, your pockets couldn't handle this type of cash flow. How much is he worth exactly? Let's find out. Firstly, it's important to remember that King Charles was in fact born into Britain's wealthiest family.
I take this opportunity to continue the tradition.
The king himself was sort of set up. As the firstborn son of Queen Elizabeth II, Charles was already next in line to gain access to the British throne, meaning he would also gain access to the Duchy of Cornwall.
He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall.
An estate that holds tons of properties, land, and secret royal assets, which consist of practically everything good you could ever think of. So let's just say this man Charles had a bit of a head start in the rags to riches race.
The private wealth of King Charles III is estimated to be £600 million.
The king began earning a decent chunk of change as a child. When Charles was a kid, his mom Queen Elizabeth was already next in line to inherit the many assets of the crown estate. This means that baby Charles was wealthier than you could really ever imagine. Put it this way, before Charles was crawling, he probably could have purchased an Aston Martin. I mean, theoretically, of course. I don't think he had a baby bank account set up to make the purchase of a car, but baby Charles sure as heck could have found himself in the driver's seat like James Bond.
Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip spend a happy afternoon with the world's most famous baby.
And I know what you're gonna say, babies can't drive. But in baby Charles's defense, he'd probably be a safer driver than most people in London. Now that I think of it, has Charles ever driven a car in his life? Okay, we're getting off track now. Once Charles's mother took over the throne as a 3-year-old kid, Charles was already set up with the Duchy of Cornwall. This private estate consisted of land, homes, and commercial properties, and was practically served to Charles on a golden platter. According to The Guardian, the future king earned approximately £265,000 from this estate, which obviously only grew as he got older. This begs the question, as an adult, how much did Charles make annually before becoming king? Well, to answer that question, the wealth of then Prince Charles, now King Charles, and his wife Queen Camilla is primarily derived from the Duchy of Cornwall, which generated £28 million in profits for the couple in 2018 alone, thus representing around 90% of their income. Prince Charles, now king, obviously, also received £1.8 million from the Sovereign Grant, a special grant which I will dive into in a moment. On top of that, he also received around £600,000 from other government departments. So let's talk Crown Estate. King Charles, the man with the golden pockets. His secret weapon? Like I mentioned, the Crown Estate. But what exactly is the Crown Estate, you might ask? It's basically as rich and prestigious as it sounds. Picture a Wagyu filet mignon wrapped in gold flakes sitting on a diamond plate being served to you on a private jet made out of Bitcoin. Yes, you can make a jet out of Bitcoin. Why not? The Crown Estate is a real estate portfolio with a net worth that is so big it could make an egg crack itself if it heard this number. That is, of course, if the egg understood English. The Crown Estate is worth a whopping £19 billion. Yeah, you heard me right. This estate is like a royal monopoly board featuring 190,000 acres of posh, rural land, including coastlines, forests, farms, you name it, he owns it. And it's not just your average backyard. We're talking Ascot Racecourse and Regent Street. You know, the shopping hub of London? Queen Elizabeth was no slouch either. She turned this property portfolio into a real estate empire, allowing King Charles to literally roll around in the royal dough. Cue the majestic laughter. Now let's not forget the taxpayers' pounds. As if he hasn't got a big enough checkbook already, why not take money from your own hardworking people's taxes, right? Remember the Sovereign Grant from earlier? Yes, that multi-million pound grant? Well, what I might have glossed over is the fact that the grant is calculated based on the yearly profits of the Crown Estate, which usually ends up being around 25% according to BBC. So yeah, we fellow blokes are paying direct tax money into Charles's pockets. Honestly, Charles, you take e-transfer? It's so much easier these days than filing these taxes. What about the times he's gotten away with not paying taxes on his own assets? See, it's no secret that after the passing of Queen Elizabeth, King Charles got the royal jackpot. This meant inheriting her impressive stash of assets, which, according to Forbes, is valued at a jaw-dropping £46 billion. Now here's the kicker. The king didn't have to cough up a single pound in taxes on this inheritance. While the regular folks like you and I in the UK face a hefty 40% inheritance tax on anything over £374,000, King Charles gets a golden pass. Why, you ask? Well, it's just history. It turns out there was a nifty 1993 agreement between the royal family and former Prime Minister of England John Majors. What's insane is that this deal, only fit for a king, declares that any assets passed down through the sovereign to sovereign are tax-free, because it's all about maintaining a degree of financial independence from the government of the current day. And in this case, the king reigns supreme. Well, with tax evasion and all, of course. On top of all this, Charles owns 7 palaces, 10 castles, 12 homes, 56 cottages, 14 ancient ruins, and 300 residential properties. Yahtzee! And he has a car collection worth 15 million. So maybe he can drive after all. And honestly, after hearing all these outrageous numbers, only allocating $15 million for your car collection sounds pretty lame, Charles. Oh wait, it all makes sense! Because get ready for this, his horse collection is valued at over 30 million pounds. Yes, horses! Imagine having 30 million pounds worth of horses. There must be some joke here about horsepower, right? Something? No? Can't think of one? I got none. I got nay jokes. Sorry. So how rich is the current King of England? Well, it's hard to put a specific dollar tag on his riches, but after doing a bunch of number crunching and whatnot, sources estimate that Charles's personal net worth is at least 2.3 billion pounds. That dollar figure remains completely separate from the value of the Crown estate, which, as we mentioned, is worth an unbearable amount of money. It is important to remember, though, that with all of that cash flow and the assets under his name, Charles still remains philanthropic and charitable. King Charles devotes a considerable chunk of his wealth towards charity as he champions various charitable causes through the King's Trust. This endeavor that was launched in 1976 aims to provide better opportunities for disadvantaged youth through education and employment programs. And according to the royal family's website, the King's Trust believes in offering every young person the chance to succeed, regardless of their background or their challenges. And in nearly 5 decades of royal benevolence, the King has steered over 1 million people towards education or employment. So thank you, Charles. So yes, the new king seems to be well in the riches and will probably never have to take a job as a waiter again, unless something goes horribly wrong, in which I hope he picks a good old traditional English pub. Imagine Sir Charles is your waiter at the pub one day. Well, I'd still order the good old fish and chips with extra tartar sauce, of course. What surprised you most about Charles's wealth?
Although it marked a very iconic occasion, the coronation of King Charles III wasn't without its share of awkward moments. It's definitely been a while since the last coronation, so we couldn't expect everything to go smoothly.
The UK's leading Republican movement bearing banners saying, "Not my king."
There was a horse that seemed to have lost control when it was reversing and it crashed into a barrier. Everybody was freaked out, wondering if they were gonna get crushed by the horse. Luckily, nobody was hurt though. And despite the grandeur of the event, only a few celebrities showed up, and one of them being Katy Perry, who had a lot of confusion written all over her face as she couldn't figure out where to sit. And then it just seemed like things weren't going her way at all, because she almost fell over when she was leaving. Queen Camilla, when the crown was being placed on her head, it seemed like it didn't fit either. She looked a little bit uncomfortable, as I think it came as a surprise when she realized, oh, this actually doesn't fit perfectly.
May thy servant Camilla, who wears this crown, be filled by thine abundant grace.
There was also a little bit of trouble with King Charles himself in making sure that his crown fit during the crowning moment.
God save the king!
Prince Harry was there, but he wasn't accompanied with his wife Meghan Markle, and he was seated right back in the 3rd row. And to make matters worse for him, Princess Anne's hat was completely blocking his view. Not everybody was in favor of the coronation though, because the head of the UK anti-monarchy group was arrested during coronation protests.
Before the demonstration even got underway, police arrested 6 organisers and seized a truck full of placards.
So yeah, definitely things weren't going 100% smoothly, and King Charles actually looked really mad when he was filmed seated in his carriage. I'm not that great at reading lips, but it seemed like he had some pretty harsh words on his mind that he had to verbalize.
Before the King and Queen, but maybe they took a different entrance.
And this one was a little bit of a surprise. Prince Andrew was invited. Yeah, he showed up and he was actually booed by the crowds as he traveled to the king's coronation. And if you're wondering why people were booing, well, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, he had stepped back from royal duties back in 2019 over his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. So I guess people booing him didn't come as a big surprise, but it was still a pretty awkward moment for a coronation. And lastly, ahead of the coronation, some pranksters thought it would be funny to actually mow a giant phallic symbol in the grass. And this was at the Bath's exclusive Royal Crescent lawn, which was the venue for the coronation party. And the thing is, no one knows who did this.